Hello and welcome back to Up the Villa podcast. This is the Champions League Aston Villa season review. We've got a lot to get through. So what we're going to do is we've got quite a few topics that we're all going to talk about, but I would like you guys at home in the comment section to share your thoughts as well on each topic. We'll get them up on screen. We'll see what you're saying as well. But the first one I want to touch on is how do we all feel as an Aston Villa fan having watched this season? Justin, you can open it off. How do you feel right now being an Aston Villa fan?
I feel as happy as my head is shiny, so that's absolutely ecstatic. Brilliant. We all had high expectations after what happened at the end of last season and the finish we had. I was pretty confident from the off that we could have a good season if we could carry on that form in any kind of way into the new season, and it just started off brilliantly, didn't it? Then added into the mix the European campaign, which we haven't seen at Villa Park for a very, very long time. Overall, I'd say I think my first season watching Villa a game was 88, 89. So that's a long time, and this is probably my top 3 seasons I've ever seen. So that just tells you the level, that they've attained this season, which is been extraordinary, really. And if this is just a sign of things to come over the next few years, then I think we've just got to embrace it and enjoy every minute of it, because who knows when it's going to end, but it's not going to end for a decent amount of time now. I think we've actually got a proper structure in place with a manager that's in for the long haul. And yes, there might be bumps in the road a little bit, but I'm in it all the way through with him. We're a unit now, and this season has been nothing short of sensational, in my opinion.
I agree, mate. I agree. I'd echo everything that you've said. Ryan, as a fellow Holt Ender, we've enjoyed a good amount of beer in the Holt End this season. So, how have you found this season?
Beer and limbs, mate. Beer and limbs in that Holt End this season. Hearing just inside that is top 3. I think it easily nestles into mine. I'm thinking 95, 96, where we come forth and won the League Cup, and the promotion year from the Championship 2019. I think that nestles in. I've still trying to decide what position it goes in. I think the magnitude of what we've achieved this season is still sinking in a bit with me, I think as the dust settles more into the summer, we'll look back even more and it will feel massive what we've achieved. Do you know what I mean? It's like the football, the collective style of sweeping football that we've seen at the start of the season was unreal. The player performances that Unai Emery has maximised, the transfers that he's brought in, the entertainment. I think it was 76 goals or something we scored this season. So we have been royally entertained, and just a squad mentality as well, just to stick with it to the end. It got a bit tough at the end. It got a bit nervy. We were battered and bruised, but that's huge squad mentality just to get over the line, and this will see us right for years to come, I believe.
Yeah, when I look back on this season, I think it's just been. Oh, I mean, Justin, I'm sorry, mate, but you're a lot older than me, so you can have it. You can have a top 3, but for me, unfortunately, can't remember like that many good times. Martin O'Neill was probably the memory that I have as a sort of an adult of watching Aston Villa. And when I hear about your stories and I hear about stories of football fans who have been able to watch a lot of success, have seen us win the league, they've seen us win the European Cup, and I've heard about what certain teams are made of. And I've always been just wishing that Aston Villa could have like half of those characteristics that could potentially lead us to having an ounce of success. And I've seen that this season from Aston Villa. I've seen real bright sparks. I've seen, and even us stumbling over the line at the end. We have stumbled at the end, but we've still got there. We haven't stumbled and not got there. When you hear of teams that have, in the past, how the football world works these days, and they use the phrase they've bottled it. How many times do you hear that phrase? And we didn't bottle it. We just kept going. And, that result on Monday night sort of like epitomises like what we've been this season, that we're down and out. We're 3-1 down and we get 3-3 and we've got that point. That point's actually been massive. So for me, it's just been amazing. And I sort of echo what Justin said, that this only feels like we're not even like the finished article. And for us to get here now just feels like amazing. Like, I've done an episode today and I've tried to, I've said a percentage of what I feel like we are as an Unai Emery team. And the percentage that I used is, I feel like we're only 45% of an Unai Emery team. Like, I don't even think we're even halfway yet of what we can potentially become. The players that we've got, majority of them aren't even his players. And he's been able to nurture, he's been able to get them to levels in which we probably didn't feel that they could get to. But not only those players, such as Bailey's got to a level, Watkins has got to a level. You can see what Callum Chambers is able to do, a guy that's been completely frozen out, has played no football all season, yet he comes on that pitch on Monday night and he looks like a man possessed, and he put in a quality performance. And that's a player that's probably not going to be here next season. And then that shows you what Emery's able to do with players. And I just think it's been sensational. So we'll turn the chat back to Emery then, Justin. You've had your sort of said your 3 eras of Villa. So talk to me a bit about Emery and what you've been impressed with him this season.
Everything. I think it's hard not to be impressed by every single thing that he's done. When I look back, like I said, the best seasons I've ever seen, the earliest one I've ever seen was the Graham Taylor runners-up team, which was just phenomenal season. So for a lot of people to know the size of our club and what we're capable of for this season, it fills me with love and joy to see it, because I know, and I've known all my life, where this team can be, but we've just needed that final piece of the jigsaw to return us back. And in a way, Dean Smith helped us along the way, and he was the right man at the right time. And even Gerrard had to do a job, and yes, he was shocking, but that pathway from all these managers has led us to where we were. If we hadn't have had Gerrard, we probably wouldn't have had Emery, because he turned down Newcastle in the summer because he wasn't ready to come back to England. So we probably needed that bit of a Gerrard disaster to allow him time to decide, yes, the Premier League is where I want to be. And I've got to give my brother a lot of credit here, because he was raving to me about Unai Emery for a long, long time. He kept saying, he's the only one, he's the only one, he's the only one. And yes, I was aware of him as a manager, but I don't think I've realised just how good he was until he rocked up at Villa. And I think that first game, the Man United game, when we won it at home, somehow he managed to get his thoughts and his processes and everything over. What Gerrard has taken in a year to do and still got nowhere, this man just rocks up at the training ground, and within a few days he's implemented a way of playing that's got us a win at home, which was just ridiculous against Man United last season. So then going into this season, obviously we're thinking, what can he achieve now with a full pre-season under his belt? What can he achieve with the squad that he built in the summer, the players that we brought in, the Pau Torres, the Diaby, which we was all excited to see. But I don't think, for me, it's just the on-field stuff. I don't think it's even the tactical side of it, or the way he sets the team up, or the way it's everything about the man is impressive. And I've said it on this podcast numerous times, when we lost Gerrard and we needed a new manager, we needed a man that can come in, pick the club up, put it on its shoulders and say, I am big enough, I am good enough to carry this club to where I want it to go. And that is his vision for a club, and his idea of a successful club is so high. It's the elite mentality. For me, he's in the top 2 managers in England, which probably puts him in the top half a dozen managers in Europe. So his mentality is where he wants to be is winning the league, winning the European Cup, putting trophies in the cabinet regularly, not one-off. Not saying, oh, great, we've won a trophy at Villa, that's me done. He wants to put us in a position where we can be challenging season in, season out. And you need that type of manager with that mentality at a club as big as Villa. That's the reality. And we haven't had one for a very, very long time. And not only has he got that mentality, but he can also put his CV down and go, there you go, I've done it multiple times at multiple clubs. So I do believe firmly that every single managerial role he's had up to now has led him to this point. And it's like all the stars have aligned. We've got the right manager with the right owners at the right time in our history. So I can't wait to see what happens next.
Yeah, he's a special guy. He's a very, very special guy. And what I've really liked about him as well is especially the sense of he's come back to the Premier League with unfinished business. And what he's got at Villa, he probably won't ever get at any other football club he ever goes to, because he's got full control. He literally runs the show. He's got his sporting director, transfer guru, Monchi, who's working hand in hand. And I just feel like it all fits together. And his mentality, like trying to tap into his mentality, is so interesting. You know, I'm going to ask the question in a second. What's everybody's favourite game of the season? And Emery did an interview a couple of days ago, and his most important game, he said, was Nottingham Forest. Now, we lost 2-0 at Nottingham Forest. But if you start unravelling and thinking about why he said Nottingham Forest, yeah, we lost that game. But in that game, we had complete control. We had all of the ball. We had all of the style. We had all of the territory. And that's what he loves. And we were able to take confidence from that away performance and then go on that massive run over sort of like November, December, where we were beating Man City and Arsenal. And that's the game that he thinks this season was our standout performance. So I think he's just quality. And you know, the belief he must give the players, even the bench, that, you know, the individual coaching he must give the players. It's absolutely remarkable. And I love him. And you don't go on that wall if I don't like you. So he's on that wall right there. So I absolutely love him. And Justin, you met him the other day, but if I met him, I think I'd have to kiss his shoes or something. I'd have to bow down to him, I think, because
I
I
didn't even know he was there. I went to watch the under-21s and they sold the 3 blocks in the Trinity Middle. And then the next block along was like the padded seats, and it was really busy. And I just thought, you know what, nobody's sitting there. I don't think they'll mind. I went and sat on the side, right at the back, just to enjoy the game. It wasn't until just before half time when I saw people looking like at me, but they was looking above me at the box behind me. Then I sort of stood up and looked, and he was literally just standing there. I thought, I can't believe this. But I tell you what was interesting. He was watching his son and the under-21s play. I mean, this is the night after the awards night, and you know, he's straight back on it. And at half time, I kept having a quick glance over the wall, and there was him, assistant manager, Vidigali, I think, was there, and there's 2 other guys, and they were deep in conversation. Now, I couldn't hear, obviously, what they were saying, because they're probably speaking Spanish anyway, but you can just imagine that, and I think a couple of pictures have come out in the training ground of these meetings they're having already. And Daz Howe said it. I speak to him quite a lot on WM, and he went to the last press conference, and he phoned me up after. And he said, the man is just impressive. He said he just came out and he went, I'm already planning for next season. We're already down the line of where we want to be, what we want to do, where we're going to go, who we're going to sign. It's all in place. He said, yes, I'm going to have a break, but I'm ready. I'm ready for it. You know, and that's the man we've got now. You know, we've had managers in the past that would bugger off and watch. You know, I think Martin O'Neill did when there was a World Cup. She went to the World Cup for a month and did his duties. Oh, right, I've got to come back and sort the Villa out now. No, solely focused on what happens next at Villa. And that's the hands we are currently in, and we could not be in better hands than him.
So, Ryan, are you saying he's in that bunker right now?
Yeah, man. Of course he is. Of course he is. Of course he is. And like he's unreal. And I know you two love your body ink. So it won't be long before that man is inked onto your bodies on his arm. Yeah, he'll be landing. Get yourself a space ready, because this guy could go down in history as the best we've ever had, because he's just, his whole package is just elite. Yeah. The mentality is elite. You talk about that Nottingham Forest game, Luke. I was behind the goal that day, and we, like you say, we battered them, and Forest hit us with 2, sucker punch goals. But what we've learnt with Emery is positive, isn't it? So you can imagine yourself in that dressing room after that game. We've lost 2-0. He'd be in there praising them, wouldn't he? Bigging them up. And I can see why that is his favourite game, because that might have been like a mentality shift from the players to say, look, we've done everything we could. It was one of them days. We played the right football, how we want to play, how Aston Villa want to present themselves. It didn't happen, but let's go to the next game and win it. And that's what we've had all season, haven't we? We've had that bounce back ability. We've just, through defeat, we've always bounced back with victory. And he's just like, his depth of detail is like limitless. Like you say, down that bunker, like, after a defeat, you see him in the press conference. He's got his stubble, his hair's a bit ruffled, and he's deep diving into detail, and like his tactical masterclasses that he's delivered for us to analyse all season. Oh, it's just been unreal. His signings, the way he's maximised the players that are already at this club. I was also at Fulham away that night that Gerrard got the sack, and I could never envisage this football club in this sort of short period, 18 months, from there to Champions League, dilly-ding-dilly-dong. It's absolutely unreal. And it's all down to Emery and the owners as well for giving him that infrastructure, which is just going to get stronger and stronger. It's like it's in its infancy. And I agree with you, Luke. 40% feels about right, but it's just everything's going to get stronger now, isn't it? The on-pitch stuff is strong, and that will continue to grow. And now we're starting to see the off-field stuff, the Adidas deals, the new shirt sponsors, the works, the redevelopment works that are going on around Villa Park. We're in for a right treat this summer, and we're gonna really strengthen, aren't we? So absolutely in awe of the man.
Love it. Right, so we've got some interactive ones that I think we're all gonna enjoy doing right now. So the first one for the chat and the comment section: favorite game of the season. I'll kick it off and then we'll go around. For me, favourite game of the season is Man City at home. What we did that night to Manchester City was incredible. We've probably had games in the past where we've had a smash and grab and we've done well. But to batter them the way that we did was just incredible. The possession, the control, the crowd was good, because what we were going in that time as well is the media had sort of like cottoned on to the fact that, Villa have now got Man City and they're on this big run. The run's going to end with Man City, and it didn't. And I just loved it. And I think for us to do that to them was quality. And that was the last time that they lost a game this season, was that game. So they've gone unbeaten from that game. So we know that Pep was in his bunker going through it thinking that don't happen again to us, because he got absolutely schooled. So Ryan, what is your favourite game of the season?
I fully agree with you, Luke. When you said that, I wrote down Manchester City as well, because it was just like we outplayed them, outfought them. Everything was brilliant. The stats will forever live online and on social media. What we did to them that day, the amount of shots we didn't concede against them was unreal, absolutely unreal. They're all in the record book. So just to mix it up a little bit, let's say I'm going to go Spurs away. Because then we were mixing it up at the top, weren't we? And it became clear that Spurs were our main. They were the favourites for fourth place along with us. So they were our main rival at the time. So for us to do them 2-1 and recover from. It was a pretty poor first half from what I can remember. And I remember Emery making a couple of subs. I think Tillemans come on and probably Bailey come on at half time and completely change the game. And we win 2-1. So I think that moment there, coupled with, strangely, remember like Tottenham, they played Chelsea at home. And Postecoglou went mad, and they'd lost a couple of players and they had to red cards, and they were playing that mad high line, and they were really reckless. And like most neutrals were like bigging it up, going, "Oh my God, look how good he is! Like he's just gone for it. He's just gone for it." And they got pummeled 4-1 in the end at home. Like, and I just thought then that moment there, I thought, you know what, we've got the edge on them because Emery adjusts and Big Ange don't. I feel like his tactics are just copy and paste, but Emery don't. You know what I mean? That Tottenham lose their left back end doggy. Like he's like unique, like brilliant at what he does. He gets injured. They replace him with Ben Davies, like, and try and make him do the same job. Where Emery has replaced players in this squad, and we've had to change the system up and everything. Like, and I just thought then that moment. That Chelsea Tottenham game and then us beating them, I just thought, you know what, we've really got the edge on Tottenham, and Emery's got the edge on Postecoglou. So I will go with that one as my favourite game.
Love it. Justin, what are you going with?
I was going to try and be clever and go for a game that nobody would pick, but the reality is that Man City performance was probably one of the best team performances I have ever seen Aston Villa Football Club ever in my life. You know, the stature and the nature of the team was playing, the week that we knew we was about to embark on with them on the Wednesday and Arsenal on the Saturday, where we had sort of positioned ourselves in the league. We knew what we were capable of. We knew what we'd seen up to that point last season and this season. I think we all thought, you know, we can get points out of these two teams here. But I think that was the seismic shift in the nation's opinion on Aston Villa that week. And that's what you need to turn yourselves into a sort of a pretender to the throne, to when people actually stand up and take notice of what you are. Because your perception outside of the bubble that we're all in as Villa fans, you need that performance that turns everybody's opinion into like another team's opinion of you. You know, well, all of a sudden, oh shit, Villa we're playing Villa next week. Look how good they are. Look what they've just done to City. So the whole nature of what happened in that game, the win, the way we scored them, the chances we created, we restricted them to 2 shots on target the whole game. It was just ridiculous. You know, if we see a better game than that in the next 2 or 3 seasons, then we're in for an absolute treat.
And the noise,
only other one
in Villa Park when Bailey, when that ball hit.
Then it was a night game as well, and
you
know, all these things just rack up. But the only other one which I sort of considered, but it still wasn't as good as that one, was I know we played a Hibs in sort of the run up to the European run, but was it the Zrinski game, the first home game after we'd lost the first game away? So that first proper night of European football was in that league structure, and they rock up and it was it the 94th minute McGinn winner?
Yeah,
that was a very special night at Aston Villa as well. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was great. Right, let's go goal of the season then. What's our favourite goal of the season? And there's been a few. I've got an obscure one that I think is very underrated, I think. Ollie Watkins' header away at Bournemouth. Now that is some header to wind it back and edit off that Diaby cross and to draw that game was a wonderful header. And what you remember now, like when you look back on the season and you remember like that goal got us a point and you're thinking that point was so important to come back. And those type of moments when you look back and, you know, you can even say like Zaniolo's goal away at West Ham, massively important goal. Zaniolo at home against Sheffield United, massive goal. So, you know, players like Zaniolo, who probably we won't ever see again, still played a role this season in getting us points and getting us to the Champions League. So my favourite goal, Watkins' header against Bournemouth. Justin, your favourite goal of the season?
I thought long and hard about this, and there's two ways of looking at your favourite goal: either an aesthetically pleasing one that's just a beautiful finish, or a goal that, like you've just said, means something. So to nick a last minute winner, it could be a scuffy one off someone's arse, but because it's a 3-2 win the 97th minute, it's a really special goal. But I found it hard to narrow it down, and I can't believe you've just come up with Watkins' header, because that was one of mine. I've narrowed it down to three. Watkins' header against Bournemouth, 2-2. I was at Spurs away as well. We've already mentioned that. Ryan's already mentioned it was a good, and Watkins' goal in that game, because I thought that was a wonderful team goal. The passing at the edge of the box that opened him up, and he finished. Watkins finished. But I think for a pure strike, I'm going to go with Duran's Thunderbolt against Palace, because I thought it was just ridiculous finish. Absolutely ridiculous.
That goal was. That game was mad as well, wasn't it? Because that was when we were we were still on that run and we were losing, weren't we? And then that just comes from, because I don't think that was the winner, was it? We scored. Did we score again after that?
Yeah, Louise scored a pen, didn't he?
Yeah.
What I mean,
we needed that to get us back in the game, didn't we?
Yeah, and what I like about that is like from a player like Duran, it's like when you're watching it, like when he scored against Everton. And it's like you really root for these players that don't really feature that much. And then when he smacked that and went in, whole 10 was just like, what's going on? Like, where's that come from? So, yeah, it's a great goal. And I think probably the best goal I think that we did score. Ryan, what would you go with?
Right, yeah. Like Justin says, that Duran one, we see the whole 10, didn't we? So we had full view of that one. That was smashed in it. Let's mix it up. I haven't really given this much thought. I'm not long off a plane from New York, so diving straight into the pod. So I'm thinking potentially the McGinn goal against Arsenal. I think the build up to that goal.
Yeah.
Like after the Manchester City game as well. We went into that Arsenal game
as well,
early doors. Every player virtually had a touch of the ball, his turn and finished. That was an ace goal. But I think for me, I'm going to go Luca Dean against Luton last minute.
Oh, yeah. Very important goal.
That one was where we're slightly, the results started to, we're getting draws here and there, wins and defeat. And I think that one was a big, massive goal, because we were 2-0 up, wasn't we? If I remember rightly. Then they pulled it back to 2-2. And again, the mentality that Emery has instilled, we get that winner, and like turning a point into 3 like that in the away end. Justin, I know you was in that away end.
I got that on video.
You was all over Sky Sports, weren't you, that day?
Mate, honestly, that was the most ridiculous last couple of minutes. I said to the bloke next to me, in my usual manner, we're going to win this. We're going to win this in the last minute. He was like, we ain't. We've thrown it away. I said, we're going to win this. And I had my phone. I said, I'm going to record it when we score. And the ball came across, and I literally just managed to get my phone up. And just as he buried it, I was like, after it all calmed down, bloke went, you was right, weren't you?
Mad. Right, guys, there's loads of you watching. We've only got 99 likes. So if you haven't liked this stream, make sure you like it. It'll push more Villa fans into it as well. Next category for you all to get involved with in the comment section. Moment of the season. Right. I'll kick it off. My moment of the season is Arsenal away. Yuri Tielemans pinged it to Ollie Watkins to dink it over the keeper. The away end limbs were probably one of the best away end limbs we've seen all season. And the magnitude of that game, of where we were, because remember where we were at the time? We've got about 7 games to go, hadn't we? And we've got a couple of games where you'd expect us to get points. But I always felt like for us to get top 4, we had to beat a big team. And, we'd still got Liverpool, we'd still got Chelsea, we'd got Arsenal. I think we'd already lost to Man City. We had lost to Man City. And to go there and have that defensive masterclass and then just hit him at the end. And, he gets a lot of stick from them fans, them Arsenal fans. And surprise, surprise, who's ruined the party? Unai Emery does the double over Arsenal. What a story, and it shut them up, and I love it. So as a collective, that's my moment of the season. Justin, what's yours?
Pretty easy one for me. It was on the 14th of May, 2024.
What's that then?
And it was Tottenham Hotspur versus Manchester City. And it was the 91st minute, sitting at home on my telly when they got the penalty. And I stood up about a foot in front of that telly, and I realised they were going to win it anyway, I think, but you never know. They could have nicked a point. And I thought, if he scores this penalty, this confirms our return after 40 years to the Champions League, the top table of European football. For me, having that confirmed was my moment of the season. It was a very emotional night. We went live just after that, and the enormity of that, of what we've achieved. And yes, it wasn't a Villa moment, if you like. It was another team. But I think the whole season leading to that point, we just needed that confirmation. We just needed it with the cherry on the icing on the cake. And at that moment when we knew that was it, it was done. It would have been lovely to do it ourselves on the Monday. It wasn't meant to be. But that was the moment where European Cup football came back to Villa. And that was... I'll take a long time to forget that moment.
Yeah, it was sensational. And the beauty of it, Justin, is we get to all share it together as well. And doing this pod has been an absolute dream. Ryan, what was your moment of the season?
I was just racking my brains for a couple, and you've both nabbed them both. So I'm in total agreement with you both, especially that Arsenal one. You know, even like, you know, when Watkins scored and you got that camera angle and it's following him around, he's dinking it and then he zooms in on the away end. That video is unreal. So to mix it up a bit, let's go Lille. Let's go Lille away. I think they're like so many emotions during that game. You know, to go 2-0 down and then to score a goal in the last minute, Matty Cash blasting it in the top corner, to go through extra time and then have them penalties and win penalties away in Europe. I was very, very proud of our club that night, and I know we couldn't quite get to the final. You know, we should have been gearing up for Athens this week, but the Euro run, like as a whole moment, as a collective, has just been thoroughly enjoyable. From the first game against Hibs, it sort of got our season back on track after that 5-1 defeat at Newcastle. We went to Hibs, and that could have potentially have been a banana skin, but we seen the Villa that we was going to see for the rest of the season after that game. And then, just going through the group stages, all the different clubs and nationalities coming to Villa Park, the different cultures. I know you had a great time in Athens despite the result. And look, if we played Olympiacos earlier in the season, no doubt in my mind, we would have done them over two legs easy. It's just it come down to we were running on empty. We were black and blue. We were battered, and we just couldn't find that last bit of momentum to do both, to do the Champions League and get to that final. But what I will say about that European adventure, that experience, is that it will set us up nicely for next season. We know now the demands. We know the level of quality of depth we need in our squad to compete in both competitions, to go deep in both competitions. So
what competition are you talking about?
The Champions League.
What is on about the Carabao Cup there, mate?
Talking about the Johnson's Pike.
No, that's Blues, mate.
That's the under 21s, and I smashed the Blues. I'd say another special thing. That's the one. That away end on Sunday would have taxed some beats if you were there. That was just ridiculous. Fair play to all them the fans that went there. That was a special thing to view that from the outside looking in.
Yeah. So have a little chat now about the Premier League. What have you made of the Premier League in general then this season? I think it's been bit of a mixed one, hasn't it? Really, it's been a bit random. It's been a bit couple of teams, a lack of quality. You know, 3 teams that came up have gone straight back down. Although Luton made, you know, a real big fist of it. So Ryan, what have you made of sort of like the actual Premier League? City have won it. What's your vibe on the overall Premier League?
Yeah, not quite as exciting, really, for the neutrals as it has been the last few years. Yeah, like you say, with the relegation, it weren't quite there, did it? They just ran out of steam. Luton, like, give it a real good go, and I enjoyed watching Luton. But it did get a bit farcical down the bottom with the points deductions. Everton were getting deducted 10, then they weren't, then there was appeals, then Forest were getting deducted, then they weren't, and then it just got very, very farcical down there. So it would have been interesting to see how that panned out if the initial points deduction would have stuck. It would have been a lot more tighter down there. Always nice to see United flapping around and it like flagging. So it's good to see them have an absolute mare of a season.
Isn't it their worst they've ever had? It's their worst.
It's got to be up there. Yeah, surely. From when I've been watching football, they were so dominant when I first started watching, like, the early 90s and through to the 2000s, and taking all our players off us like Bosnich and York, and so it's always nice to see them suffer. And with the title, I did think Arsenal played some lovely football. If I had the choice to watch Arsenal or Manchester City, I probably would have chose an Arsenal game. But City are just inevitable, aren't they? And I've seen Rodri comment after the game. Like, we talk about mentality and squad mentality. He mentioned something about when Arsenal come to their place, they didn't want to win. And it switched in his mind that, you know what, this title's ours. And they go on that rampaging run, don't they? There was times this season when I thought that's not going to happen. It just seemed to get further and further down the line, and then De Bruyne comes back, and then it's W, isn't it? So 4 in a row, and like Pep's got 6 Premier League titles now. It's an unreal achievement, but we'll see if there's an asterisk next to it when them 115 charges come. So yes, the circus of the Premier League will roll on.
And I'll let Justin take the next one then. So Champions League football. It's been over 40 years since Aston Villa have been in Europe's elite competition. Brand new format coming to the Champions League. I kind of like it because I feel like we go into the Champions League and it's fresh, brand new. Minimum of 8 games for Aston Villa in the Champions League. And that excites me as well. Every one of those 8 teams will be a completely different team as well. There's no home and away of 2 sort of like 2 games. So we'll play 4 teams away, 4 teams at home. How do we in the summer? How do we look forward to this? Because I'll just get like so excited, just even like thinking in my head the name Real Madrid or the name Bayern Munich or teams like that. So how are you feeling about sort of like next season then with that on the horizon?
I can't wait. I think the format actually goes in our favour. I think it gives us more of a chance to progress. I think we can definitely mix it. I think the top third go through automatically. The next third go through to playoffs, and then the bottom third disappear. So it gives us a chance to, as long as we stay within that top 2/3 teams, which I think we can do that. I think we're capable of doing that. Then it gives a chance to go into the knockout stages of the Champions League, which I think is the last round of 16, isn't it? So you've got 16-8, semis and finals. So we've got a chance. We're not going in to make up the numbers. We know that. We Newcastle weren't prepared, and their biggest problem was they had a manager that had never managed in Europe before, and we haven't got that problem. We're going into it with a secret weapon. He's not very secret now because everybody knows how good he is, but you know what I mean? We're going into it with a real advantage, in my opinion, because he knows what's coming. I can't see for the life of me we're going to have the problems injury-wise that we had this season. So I think, if anything now, we're going to be mega prepared for it. the players will be all the better for playing in European competition this season. And I think we've just got to embrace it. And whatever happens. It's going to be very difficult. It's we've seen this season against the third ranked tournament, and we've had some incredibly tough games against some teams that you would, on paper, not know much until you deep dive into them and know that they're a lot of these teams we played this season. We've gone, we'll beat them. Not the Zurinskas of this world. I was on about when we managed to scrape past them. Up until we drew against them, nobody probably could tell me where they played. But they are experienced European teams, and we're now going up 2 levels into the elite European teams. That most of them are in this competition season in, season out. You just look at what Dortmund have done this year. That they are experienced European campaigners at the highest level, and we can't just expect to waltz in and fly. And that's not to say we can't compete, and that's where I think we'll be. I think we'll be aiming to have a good account of ourselves. I think next season overall is going to be incredibly difficult because people are going to look at us now and that we've got a target on our back, and everybody's going to expect us to fail in the league because we've got the Champions League as well to deal with. But I think if anything, we've dealt very, very well with Thursday, Sunday. Our record after European games has been excellent. So it's just a matter of being prepared. The motto is back for Aston Villa, and that's got to be the motto for next season. I think it's prudent. It's come back. It's prudent. It's plastered all over, Villa Park, and it's going to be probably very big everywhere next season. But prepared. And the other thing is that it's the 150th anniversary of Aston Villa, so it's going to be a party season next year. So hopefully, it's going to be another season to remember.
Yes, and I'm sure it will be. So that is us done. Season review done. 23-24. The season is finito. It's been an absolute dream. And creating content on here for you guys has been amazing. It's been great. The community that we've built. We've created vast amount of content. We've had fan cams. We've had predicted lineups, match reactions, debriefs, tactical debriefs. We've had guests. I've had a great season in itself on the overlap. We've been on TNT Sport. We've done loads and loads of stuff this year, and it's just been amazing. I just want to thank everybody for watching us this season and showing your support. The channel has gone to a new level, and I'm just really proud of what we've created. And, watching Unai Emery this season has been absolutely amazing. And Champions League football, I can't wait to do opposition previews with Real Madrid fans, Barca fans. We're venturing into a different stratosphere now as Villa fans, and we're all getting back to what we belong with, really. So, I just wanted to say thank you. And me and Justin are going to London tomorrow. We've had the call. We've been called up by James Allcott to go to his Spotify studio. He wants the big boys to turn up. So that's where we're going tomorrow. So me and Justin are going to be on James Allcott's channel as well. So yeah, does anyone else want to add anything or?
No, I'll just echo what you've said. Every single person I've met, Villa, home or away, or even at my workplace, that come in and say, "Oh, I watch you on the pod. Love it." It's an amazing privilege to come on and talk about something you absolutely love. They always say if you do a job that you absolutely love, you'll never work a day in your life, and that's how I feel doing this podcast. It's amazing. I get to do it with amazing people, Ryan and Luke and Hannah. And the fact the journey we've been on up to this point from where we started has just made it even more special. So, thanks to every single person that's watched us and commented and come up and said hello. Anything. It's we're just normal Villa fans like everybody that's watching. Amazing. Up the bloody Villa.
Up the Villa. And so content-wise, then from now on, we've got some episodes penciled in for this week, which are going to be good. I've recorded one today that I think is pretty good, to be fair. We've already got a bit of a transfer hub ones come out. Ross Barkley, you can catch my thoughts on the Barkley rumour. We will be doing Euro watch-alongs as well. So we'll be doing all of the 8 o'clock games, probably a couple of the games that are in the day as well. So we'll be doing watch-alongs for that. You can just drop in and have a chat, and we'll chat about the Villa as well. We've got transfer hubs. Any Villa news that drops, you'll find it on here as well. So up the Villa. Cheers for all your support.
Up the Villa.